You are at war and didn't even know it. You are at war, not against the world, not against other people, but against the very thoughts that sabotage you quietly and consistently. You're battling every idea that makes you second-guess yourself, every phrase you repeat without thinking, every story you inherited without questioning. Most people are not destroyed by the world around them, but by what they allow to grow within them. They are worn down not by tragedy, but by the weight of unexamined thoughts, beliefs implanted in childhood, and the silent scripts they've carried their entire lives. The real battlefield is not outside of you, it's your own mind. And if you don't train it, it will turn against you and slowly bury your potential. For years, you were conditioned to believe that self-doubt is humility, that playing small is a form of maturity, that being quiet is noble. You were taught that dreaming big is arrogant, that confidence is dangerous, and that asking for what you want makes you selfish. These lies were repeated so often that you began to accept them as your truth. And in doing so, you silenced yourself, shrank yourself, and began moving through life asking for permission to exist. But now, that ends. You have to reprogram the way you think. You must learn to use thought as a weapon and language as fire. Because every word you speak, whether consciously or subconsciously, is building your future or destroying it. If you don't command your inner voice, it will command you, and not in your favor. This message is not soft. It's not polished with polite motivational quotes. It's a demand for you to wake up, to stop recycling thoughts that weaken you, to become aware of the story you are telling yourself, and then to change it. The way you think and speak creates the identity you live inside. This is not a self-help moment. This is training. This is internal transformation. If you want a different life, you have to become a different person, starting with your thoughts, your language, and your mindset. The journey begins with a decision, the decision to stop being your own worst enemy. Part 1. Talk to yourself like someone who's already awakened. Most people never question the way they speak to themselves. They move through life caught in mental habits they didn't choose. Their inner voice is filled with criticism, self-doubt, and uncertainty, and they don't even notice it. They talk to themselves like someone broken, defeated, or lost. They replay old judgments, repeat what others once said, and quietly adopt identities that no longer serve them. This internal narrative shapes how they walk through the world. It dictates how they respond to challenges, how they handle relationships, and whether or not they pursue their dreams. The way you speak to yourself when no one else is listening determines the course of your life. If your internal dialogue is filled with fear, you will live cautiously. If your thoughts echo past wounds, you will remain emotionally stuck. But if you shift the way you speak, if you start addressing yourself as someone who is capable, resilient, and powerful, your entire life changes. You don't need external validation when your inner voice validates your worth. Speaking to yourself with intention is not about lying or pretending. It's about choosing words that align with the version of you that you're building. Even if you don't believe those words at first, repetition will create belief. Words become habits, and habits become identity. You must learn to speak with direction, purpose, and clarity. Your mind listens, your body follows. When your internal dialogue changes, so does your posture, your presence, and your energy. You stop hiding behind fear. You stop making excuses. You begin to move through the world with quiet authority, and you no longer need to prove your worth, because you live it. This philosophy teaches us that mental discipline starts with language. If your inner voice is clear and strong, external chaos cannot shake you. So today, choose to talk to yourself like someone who is already awake. Because if you don't affirm your own worth, no one else will do it for you. Part 2. Break the oldest chain. There are invisible chains wrapped around your life. Chains made of old beliefs, buried pain, and stories passed down through family, culture, or trauma. These chains aren't physical, but they shape your emotions, your decisions, and your sense of what is possible. Some people spend their whole lives dragging these invisible weights behind them. They carry shame they didn't earn, fears they didn't choose, and guilt that was placed on them long ago. They walk with invisible tension in their chest, not realizing that their inner narrative has become a prison. Breaking these chains isn't a gentle process. It's not a symbolic act. It's a moment of brutal clarity and deep courage. It means deciding that you are no longer going to carry burdens that were never yours to begin with. It means refusing to identify with pain just because it's familiar. You may not have asked for the trauma, the criticism, or the failures, but you have a choice now, to keep letting them define you, or to rewrite the story. The chain only has power because you keep pulling it. You don't need to wait for some magical moment or dramatic breakthrough. You just need a clear decision. To say enough is enough. To look in the mirror and stop seeing a broken reflection. To stop defending your limitations and start acting like the version of yourself you know you can become. The past is real, but it does not control the future unless you let it. You can have wounds and still be strong. You can have scars and still rise. But you must choose to stop feeding the version of you that was shaped by fear. Your freedom begins with the words you speak to yourself and the actions you take next. Break the chain, not for applause, not for anyone else, but because your life depends on it. Part 3. Walk, even if the map is blurry. There will be moments when nothing is clear, when every step forward feels uncertain, when the future seems cloudy and you question everything. In those moments, the temptation is to freeze, to wait for the perfect plan, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect sign. But waiting for clarity is a trap. If you wait until you're ready, you'll never move. The truth is, clarity doesn't precede action. It's a result of it. You don't need to see the whole path. You just need to take the next step with conviction. It doesn't matter if you're scared. It doesn't matter if you're unsure. What matters is movement. Momentum builds belief. Progress builds confidence. Most people are stuck not because they lack potential, but because they're addicted to certainty. They want guarantees, but life doesn't offer them. It offers risk, trial, failure, and growth. You must be willing to act without knowing how it will all work out. This philosophy is not about comfort. It's about resilience. It's about building a mindset that says, even if I fall, I'll get up smarter. Even if I fail, I'll move forward stronger. If you wait for fear to disappear before you act, you'll be waiting forever. Real courage is doing the thing anyway. Walk into the fog. Move through the doubt. Because clarity comes to those who earn it, not those who wait for it. Part 4. Face what you've been avoiding. Everyone has something they avoid, a truth they don't want to face, a part of themselves they keep in the dark. It might be a wound, a regret, a mistake, or a conversation left unsaid. Whatever it is, pretending it doesn't exist won't make it go away. In fact, the longer you avoid it, the more power it has over you. It starts to influence your decisions, your relationships, and your health, emotionally and physically. What you avoid begins to control your life from the shadows. The body remembers what the mind tries to forget. Unspoken pain becomes stress, suppressed emotions become symptoms, and unresolved truths become internal storms. You cannot outrun yourself. Eventually, what you've buried will surface, often at the worst time. The solution is not to pretend it doesn't hurt. The solution is to confront it directly, not with drama, but with honesty. Say it, feel it, name it. Because what you bring into awareness, you can begin to release. Facing what you avoid is not weakness, it's strength. It's taking control of your story instead of being hostage to it. No one else can do it for you. The confrontation must come from within. It's not about reliving the pain, it's about finally setting it down. Part 5. Let your words smell like wealth. Every word you speak has weight. It sets the tone for your thoughts, your energy, and your future. Most people speak in ways that reflect scarcity, insecurity, or doubt, and then wonder why their life never changes. They complain, blame, and express limitation without even realizing it. And every time they do, they reinforce a cycle of lack. But your words can become seeds of power, if you choose them with care. Speak like someone who respects their own journey. Speak like someone who knows where they're going. This isn't about empty positivity, it's about clarity. About choosing words that support your vision instead of words that sabotage it. When you affirm belief, your nervous system responds, your thoughts align, your actions shift. You don't have to be poetic, you have to be intentional. I can, I will, I'm building. These simple phrases carry more energy than 100 excuses. Every word you repeat becomes part of your mental programming. Speak with power. Speak with direction. Speak like your future depends on it, because it does. Part 6. Shake your comfort without permission. Comfort can be deceptive. At first, it feels like peace. But over time, it becomes a cage. You get used to routine, to doing the minimum, to hiding behind convenience. And slowly, without realizing it, you stop growing, you stop risking, you start settling. Comfort whispers, "Don't rock the boat," but inside, you know the boat is already sinking. You don't need permission to challenge yourself. You don't need a crisis to grow. You just need honesty. Look at where you've settled. Be real about what you're avoiding. Growth doesn't come from safety. It comes from stretching, from discomfort, from doing what your old self would never dare to do. The voice that says, "Stay safe," will always be louder than the voice that says, "It's time." But you can override it. Push yourself. Call yourself out. Demand more. Not because you hate where you are, but because you love where you're going. Comfort is not your friend. Challenge is. Shake yourself up before life does it for you. Part 7. Listen to the whispers before they become screams. Your body is always talking. It whispers through fatigue, tension, illness, or anxiety. But most people ignore it. They treat pain as an inconvenience instead of a message. They power through, hustle harder, distract themselves until the whispers become screams. Then they break. But it didn't have to be that way. Your body is your ally. It knows what your mind refuses to admit. It stores what you suppress. And it keeps the score of everything you avoid. If you want to be strong, you must first be aligned. You must treat your physical, emotional, and mental health as one system. Stop glorifying burnout. Start honoring balance. Rest is not weakness. Listening is not laziness. Recovery is not optional. It's the foundation. You are not here to be productive at all costs. You're here to live fully and powerfully. But that starts with treating your body like a partner, not a prisoner. Part 8. Let your courage be louder than your doubts. Doubt will always speak. It's part of being human. But the mistake is giving it the microphone. You don't need to eliminate fear to move forward. You just need to act in spite of it. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action through it. It's choosing to move even when the outcome is uncertain. It's speaking up, showing up, and standing tall when it would be easier to shrink. You don't build confidence by thinking. You build it by doing. Every time you push forward, your courage grows stronger. Every time you speak truth, even if your voice shakes, your power expands. You don't need perfect clarity. You need commitment. You don't need applause. You need integrity. Let your actions speak for your vision. Let your energy become a signal. Live with the kind of presence that shows you're no longer waiting for permission to be powerful. You've already decided, now move like it. If you made it to the end, comment, "I'm rebuilding." That's the sign that you're not just watching, you're applying. You're not just inspired, you're ready. This is not about sounding wise. It's about becoming someone who lives differently, speaks differently, and thinks with purpose. You're not here to repeat the past. You're here to rewrite it. Let this be the start.